Okay.
Oh, there it is, audience window. Okay.
I'm going to turn my camera off.
Okay.
There we go. Looks good.
Okay. Do you see my screen?
Yes.
Okay. Now, okay, good. And my little ball. Okay.
Yep.
Yeah.
And then when do you want me to start the polls? Oh, you already added some questions there. Okay.
Huh?
There are some questions already in here.
Oh, wait, I think, am I a co-host now? You guys can like see and hear me?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
I made both of you presenter. Wait. Okay, only one person can be a presenter at a time. But Gina, since you're the one with the deck, I made you the presenter.
Okay, good. That makes good. Oh, maybe that's why we couldn't.
Yeah, but then Angela can Angela say something.
Oh.
Okay. So I think once the deck is up, can you put the deck up just so we can confirm that the box don't move out?
It's not up?
No.
No. I think when she switched you to presenter, it went up. It lost.
All right. Oh, quit fiddling around. Come on. I can't find the webinar now to switch it over to the screen. Where did the webinar go? Holy Jesus Christ.
It's not the share button at the bottom?
No, I don't have the webinar on my, I can't find it. Now here it is. Because remember you said I have it up, so I minimalized it. Okay. Audience window, that was my problem. Okay, so you guys can see that, right?
Yep.
Yes. Oh, cool. But now when we're talking, it doesn't move around. Okay, perfect.
Now I need to find my actual notes. Come on.
So Gina, I don't know if you saw the last slide of the deck where we added about the next month's presentation.
I haven't.
Okay, it's fine. It's just in there if you don't mind plugging it.
Yeah. You know, the one thing I do like, are we letting people in? Are we going to know when they're coming in?
Is the slide? Why is the? Did you like go into like? It just keeps switching.
I'm just clicking through.
Okay, I thought it was like doing that on its own.
Okay, there are people here.
Okay.
All right. Good morning, everyone. I see Jason. Hey, Jason, you won't be able to say hello back, but nice to see you. Thank you. Oh, I see that little emoji. Thank you, Jason. Oh, gosh. So I'm going to put, so for you all, Jason and I are in a networking group together. Angela is our soon to be, fingers crossed, hire, but right now she is just our magical contractor. And I shouldn't say just because she's amazing. And I think Jason may have met Shannon before, but I'm not positive. Yeah, probably at the networking at the Narrows, now that I think about it. So in the spring, starting in April, I'll do a once a month outdoor networking event. I started it last summer, and it's at like a little not beach like ocean, but like one of the waterways to get to the ocean. And
Cool.
so yeah, so that's been fun. Oh, Jason's reconnecting now. He's in there twice.
I think he's in here twice. Yeah.
Are we you know how like on Zoom and Teams and Google Meet you can have people wait in a waiting room and then let them in? Did that have that functionality? Do you know?
I am not sure.
There is
Hi, good morning.
I let them all in.
Okay, it's coming to you, Miss Bowman.
No, I have it set that they're allowed to come in as soon as they click on the link.
Oh, okay. All right, great. All right, I see some new faces. Good morning, everyone. Welcome. Your mic is going to be muted. Vito, good morning. Nice to see your name. I did just reach out and try to connect with you through LinkedIn, Vito, if you want to accept that connection. And Todd, nice to meet you kind of virtually on a one-way street, but I also reached out to you. I went through some folks on the attendee list that I was not connected with through LinkedIn. So if you'd like to accept my connection, that'd be great. So I'm seeing lots of folks coming in. So we're going to give a few more minutes. We've got a couple more minutes till the start of the webinar. You will not be able to unmute your mic. We wanted to kind of just get that down first. And any kind of questions that you might have, please put it in the Q&A section, which should be part of the like up to the top towards the left, just as Q&A. And that way we're going to have Shannon, and I'll introduce the whole team in a few minutes. We'll have Shannon monitor. No, we're having Angela monitor the Q&A. She's on camera as well. And if you are in a safe place and you are able to split your screen, if you can also go ahead and get your LinkedIn, get a web link, get your LinkedIn up on an additional tab, because we're gonna do broad strokes at first, and then we're gonna talk a little bit more specifically about ways to improve your engagement right away. And I want you to be looking at your own LinkedIn profile. All right, I see a few more people coming in. Welcome. We're about to get started. Make sure everybody has their lunch. Your mics are muted, so you can crunch away as loud as you want. We won't be able to hear you. Any kind of questions you might have, please go ahead and put it into the Q&A section so we can have Angela monitor those questions. And she may be interrupting me once or twice or 100 times, which is fine if there's some questions that are being asked. Good morning. I see a few more people coming in. Is the poll ready?
I think Shannon's getting ready to share it.
Yes,
Okay.
give me 2 seconds.
So everybody coming in, thank you. I love seeing everybody here so promptly. That's great. It's 12:01. Little bit of housekeeping first. Your mics are muted. So this is a lunch and learn. So feel free to grab your potato chips and popcorn or salad and crunch away. Any kind of questions that you may have, there's a Q&A section for you to go ahead and list your questions. And Angela will be monitoring the Q&A in a few moments. You'll have access to a poll that we'd like to just kind of get a little bit of an understanding of where's the comfort level of everybody. Oh, hi, Michelle. Thanks for joining. And this is great, seeing some new faces, seeing some friendly folks I've met along the way. Another thing I want you all to do is, if you're safe, which means you're not driving, and you have the ability to kind of split your screen, if you can also have LinkedIn, your LinkedIn either on another tab or split screen, so we can move seamlessly over to some ways to increase your engagement in LinkedIn. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and get started now. I'm just from a housekeeping point of view, Angela, I'm not going to see anybody else coming in because I'm just going to be focused on all about me at this point, everybody. So I do want to thank, thank you. I do want to thank everybody for spending the next hour with us. I'm Gina from Social Sipper Brands. I'll introduce the team in just a moment. Today, we're going to learn about some best practices on LinkedIn. It's a very underutilized program. So let's get started.
Just a quick note, there should be some polls up to complete. I see a couple people have completed them, but if you haven't, we'd love to have you chime in.
Thank you. That's great. All right.
There's just one right now, but there'll be more. We'll keep them coming.
Okay, fantastic. And anytime there's a new question, if you can let everybody know, I'd appreciate that, Angela.
Sure.
All right, so you've registered for this event. Thank you again. And when you went to register on our website, these were the questions we kind of had on there. So this really is our agenda. We're driving the hour together. So first, we want to make sure that LinkedIn is the right platform for you. Once you know it's the right platform, which you're here, so we're going to assume that you do think it's the right platform, but we'll talk about it. Want to make sure that you're following the rules for the platform. And then we're going to talk a bit about creative ways to promote your brand or business. Hashtags are highly debatable, exciting around the water cooler conversation. So we're going to talk about hashtags specifically to LinkedIn. We're going to talk a little bit about what type of engagement works best for whether it's video, images, or text. I don't want to spoil it, so we'll have to hold off for that answer. And then how you build those strong relationships with your followers that will convert to the sales. So just a quick background. Many of you either know myself. I'm Gina. I'm coming to you from sunny Virginia Beach down in Virginia. If you don't know me, you probably know Shannon, our Chief Marketing Officer. Shannon is down the street in the big city of Norfolk, Virginia. And then Angela, who's not on our slide here, she is our newest member to growing our Social Sipper Brands. That's Angela, and Angela is actually up in Pennsylvania. So welcome all of you. I know that we have a few folks outside of Virginia and across the country. So Social Sipper, just a tiny bit of background about the company, was originally an LLC. And in 2022, Shannon and I decided to go all in and become incorporated. So we are working with clients across the country, out to California, down to Florida, and everywhere in between. We decided to go into creating Social Sipper Brands as a corporation because we felt like the research and messaging wasn't always where it needed to be with the client. So we feel that when we craft the right message to your perfect audience, it's always going to feel like a social conversation and never an advertisement. I'm sorry, Angela, were you going to say something?
I was going to say that there was a new poll coming up, but I think everybody saw it because it looks like just about everybody voted. And the results are in that people are it's split down the middle. They're managing LinkedIn for both personal and company use. So as you move along, just keep that in mind.
That's great. And thank you, everybody, for taking the moment to answer the poll question. So let's go ahead and dive into LinkedIn. That's what we're here about. Is this the right platform for you? So let's just make sure if you want to look at the screen, it will talk about, the screen talks about what is the age range for the people, what kind of people they are. We know this is a professional setting, and usually the demographics are above 40 years of age. But let's talk about is it the right platform for you? If you're a business to business professional, okay, yes, this is a great place. Companies and decision makers are highly active on LinkedIn. If you're in a professional service industry, networking and showcasing your expertise and being one of those thought leaders within the industry, yes, LinkedIn is definitely the place you want to be, and you want to be actively engaged in it. If any of us here, not myself, of course, if anybody here is actively seeking for new career opportunities, LinkedIn, again, is a great place. Recruiters and job postings are around. And if you enjoy learning, LinkedIn is a great place to have become a lifelong learner. If you're not already, they have just a really great plethora of different training material. So what would make LinkedIn not a good fit for you? If you are primarily targeting consumers, other platforms may be better suited for you, platforms like Instagram or Facebook that reach a wider audience. If your content is highly personal or controversial, LinkedIn really does not like that. They really gear everything towards the more professional discussions. So LinkedIn would not be the best place. Now, let's say you're a roofing company and you always do residential roofing, but you're working your way into the commercial field. Yes, LinkedIn would be a great opportunity for you. If you're here trying to figure out, okay, I'm going to post 5 times and then I want 5 new sales, right? If you are looking for immediate sales conversions, LinkedIn is not going to be the platform, because this platform really requires building trust and relationships first before we're able to sell. Right. So we have Jason on the line. You know, Jason's a financial advisor. He would be the type of industry that would really thrive on LinkedIn. He's connecting with potential clients and also being able to share market insights. So that would be an example of someone who would fit really well into LinkedIn. Someone who may not fit very well would be like, let's say, like a musician who's struggling to gain traction on LinkedIn. And they're struggling because the majority of the audience that they need to find resides more on music-specific platforms. So at this point, if you're like, oh, I never want to do business to business, or, you know, I'm a musician, right? Feel free to log off if you don't feel this will be useful to you. We will not get our feelings hurt, although I would encourage you to stay on. So a little bit more about LinkedIn. It's been around since 2003. It's the world's largest professional network. There's a gazillion users, right? But the thing about LinkedIn is you have to follow their rules for engagement. There's community guidelines, and you always need to stay compliant. So you don't want to have tactics that kind of seem spammy, sending off offensive content or commenting on something and being one of those people that stir up controversy, or ever having any kind of misleading information. So know the rules before you start posting. Once you're ready to post, and we're not posting yet, you really want to create a regular posting schedule to stay on top of mind. So it's not going to be something where you set up your profile and just all these people come and want to get to know you. You know, LinkedIn is optimized for mobile. Most everything is these days, right? Just about everybody is using their phone. I'm on my laptop right now, which is great. But so an example would be, you know, if a company is posting promotional content every day, that's not going to be a great fit, right? You want more like professionals that use insights and their knowledge base and have meaningful things to say and to share with the audience. So that's how we're going to create more engagement within our within LinkedIn. Okay, so let's go ahead, and I looked through the list of folks. I had a little time this morning of everybody who's registered, and most of you have a LinkedIn profile, but some of you do not have a LinkedIn profile. So this might be an opportunity at the end of this meeting to go ahead and start one if you feel like this is still a good fit for y'all.
And Gina, just a quick poll update. We had everybody vote on how comfortable, which kind of ties in how comfortable they are with LinkedIn, or how how often they use it. And the majority of the people are falling right in the middle, but we do have one person that's very comfortable with LinkedIn and two that are very new to LinkedIn. So just to keep you updated.
That's great, you know, and that person who's an expert on it, that's great. You know, part of knowing a platform and being in the platform is also knowing about any kind of updates. We marketers always talk about algorithms. So that's great. Maybe you'll still be able to walk away with something that you didn't know before. And then also those of you who aren't comfortable at all, thank you for being very honest about that. Because it's all about, it's hard to be engaged in anything if you're not comfortable doing it, right? So this is part of what we're doing today, is to kind of take away some of that uneasiness so you are more comfortable in the platform. So you get on LinkedIn, you put a profile in, and then you're out of there, right? That's not how LinkedIn is going to help you. You really want to prioritize your LinkedIn profile. You want to make sure that you can have direct connections. So, you know, if you receive a connection from somebody in LinkedIn, one of the first things that I do is I go and check out that person, right? So that's why you want to make sure that you have all the high quality items within your profile. And we'll talk a little bit more about that in just a few minutes. So once you're in your LinkedIn profile, you will be able to search for folks based on their profession, based on their name, based on a keyword, based on a company or a job title, plenty of other criteria. So it really can help you build that network of specific people that you're trying to include in your group. LinkedIn also lets you have the opportunity to import your own contacts, and then they will mesh together and show you who's on LinkedIn that's in your contact list. So why is it important to be in LinkedIn? It's the professional brand. I know many folks will use Facebook as a way to promote what they do also. And that's fine and great, but when it comes to really trying to build your professional brand and make a name for yourself as one of the experts within your industry, LinkedIn is going to be the place to be, right? Once you're in there and you've had your personal brand, your personal profile optimized and updated, it's a great way to promote your brand or business through running polls and surveys, generating engagement, and then it also allows you to gather additional insight on that. You're able to, as we mentioned before, network, but also what LinkedIn allows you to do is really humanize your brand and showcase your company's culture. You can even host live Q&A sessions, build direct connections, and demonstrate expertise. So, one example is, as a marketing company, we want to know what's going on with our audience, with industry trends. So we can create polls within LinkedIn and find out what's happening within the industry and what's getting exciting. So we can go ahead and become more of an expert ourselves. Someone who might be a business coach might start featuring interesting ways to manage our business, including memorable stories of how to be better at time management by eating a frog every morning. Some of you might know what I'm talking about with that, but it's doing that thing you don't want to do right off. It might be LinkedIn for all I know, but so we know that this is a great way to showcase ourselves as a professional. We're not going to be taking pictures of food and posting it unless we're, a chef that's looking for some corporate gigs. So one of the things I mentioned at the beginning was talking about hashtags. So this is a very big discussion within the marketing world. How many hashtags to use? What should you use? So the first thing, if there's one thing that you leave here with, is let's not make up our own hashtags. I love hot dogs. Unless I love hot dogs is a researchable hashtag. We want to make sure that the hashtags are relevant, meaning it makes sense for it to be in yours, that you need to use research to make sure what the targeted hashtag should be for you. you would want to combine general hashtags, but also local and niche hashtags. So here's the big thing, like how many hashtags should you use when it comes to LinkedIn? And really, so LinkedIn will allow you to have up to, I believe, about 15 hashtags, but really all of the research suggests to just stick to about 3 to 5 hashtags. If not, it just starts seeming really kind of spammy and maybe not so much insightful information. So like an example of good hashtags might be like, I don't know, suppose a social media consultant posts a hashtag with social media, hashtag marketing, and hashtag LinkedIn tips, right? That's going to reach a general to a niche audience, all using those topics. So if you're a software company, you might use hashtags like cloud computing, develops, and SaaS to attract industry professionals and also potential customers. And don't forget this whole idea of using local hashtags, especially if you work within a specific market. So now we've got our profile optimized. We know ways to promote our business. And then how do we really have that engaging content? You know, one of my questions was, what works best? Is it video? Is it images? Or is it text? Right? And different platforms are successful using different ways to engage. With LinkedIn, really a combination of all is going to be the perfect. Video, we all know, is highly engaging, and it's perfect for demonstrating your capabilities, doing tutorials, even storytelling. But you still want to keep those videos very short, because we all know as professionals, we don't have a ton of additional time to watch somebody's 10-minute video. Even if LinkedIn allows you 10 minutes, you still want to keep those down into small chunks, 1 minute, maybe up to 2 minutes long, depending on the purpose behind that video. When it comes to images, you know, it's really great to have images. If you're not doing a video, add an image to something that you're creating your post on. It's visually appealing. We all know it catches our attention if there's a nice image, and it kind of breaks up the text a little. Now, text is still good though, right? Text is concise and informative. I think there's a used to be known Twitter feed, right? That, I mean, it's all about few characters, right? Less is more. So if you're trying to share some really good, informative insights and updates, yeah, just send it right out there. Okay. It's more about the quality when it comes to LinkedIn. Does it seem like something that everybody could learn from and be engaged with? Then yes, post it, whether it's a video, an image, or a text. All right, so an example could be a travel agency may use captivating videos to showcase destinations, but then also have informational text posts about travel deals. Or a financial advisor shares concise text posts with eye-catching infographics to explain complex financial concepts. But really using all three, but knowing the purpose of each one for all three to be as effective as they can be.
Okay, Gina, we have a couple questions coming in, and I'm going to save most of them till the end. But one asks if they should post the exact same thing to Facebook and LinkedIn. I can field the question if you want me to, or if you'd like to answer.
I would love to hear a voice other than mine.
All right. I figured it kind of went along with what you were talking about. But
yeah, that's perfect. That was a great question. Yeah. Thank you.
It is a great question. It's a tricky question too. There's not really a blanket answer for, you know, if you can share the same content across the board. It really, you know, Facebook tends to sometimes be a place where you share more personal information, more family photos, like those types of things. So what we were just actually talking about the other day was LinkedIn is what we kind of think of as like a business casual situation. So you can absolutely share a little bit of your personality on LinkedIn, but what we want to make sure is that you're not you know, every time your child goes to a baseball game, that you're not sharing all of the pictures of it, or, you know, probably not your romantic Valentine's Day dinner. Like, that's not going to be appropriate for LinkedIn. But you know, as a business, often you share, you know, some behind the scenes footage, some different, you know, you might be having a lunch, but with business associates. Like, those types of posts are, you know, perfect for LinkedIn. So just really think, is it so, you know, as you post on LinkedIn, it really is a true reflection of either your business, your company, or you in a professional business setting. So just think about what you're posting and whether or not it truly is a reflection of that side of yourself. And as I say that, I'm also like a big proponent of absolutely, like, it's hard to get content out there. It's hard to find things to post on all these different platforms, you know, and multiple times a week. So if you can find ways to reuse content and post across platform, definitely don't be afraid to do so. So hopefully that answers the question. And Gina, feel free if I missed anything to chime in.
That was great, Angela. I really appreciate that. And I think it's always goes back to who's your audience and what is your intention? Because I have seen more over the last few years, I have seen more personal posts going into Facebook. I mean, excuse me, LinkedIn. But it's still always tied into a professional setting. Like the other day, I saw someone posting about her lunch with her daughter, but it really had more to do with being a worker and a parent, right? So she was really tying it back into her professional brand and sprinkling in like those challenges that you have when you are professional and also a mother or father, right? So yeah, that was great. That was a really great question.
People love to see your human, you know, they love to see your smiling face and your human side. So definitely don't be afraid of it.
Perfect. Thank you so much. So we're talking about engaging content, video, images, or just plain text. So let's say we've got our engaging content on. How are we going to build our strong relationships with our followers? One thing is, don't just go into a scheduler and because even LinkedIn has a scheduler, but don't go into a scheduler and just say, okay, I'm going to post one post a day or 2 posts a day for the next month, and then walk away. That is not going to get any relationships really built, right? That's kind of that person that's that unfortunately we all know that no matter what you tell them, they always turn around and say it's all about them, right? So in order to build a strong relationship, you need to respond to any comments and any messages promptly. So don't go back a week later and then see somebody had a question about something that you posted, right? Or had an insightful comment. You really want to be going back and as soon as possible, show that you're listening, that you want to listen, and you show that by engaging back in those response or comments. It's always great to ask questions and encourage discussion. Again, we're not asking controversial questions, right? But it could even be like color palettes if you're a designer, or you know, a personality traits if you're a business coach. Or so you can ask some questions to encourage discussion, and that again is showing your followers that you're interested in what they have to say. Another way to build your strong relationships is really to offer that valuable insight and resources. I mentioned that Jason is on the call. He's a financial advisor. Whenever he has the opportunity to sit down and have some coffee with me, you know, it's like having just a book of knowledge in front of me. So, and then we're trying to take that kind of feeling and put that into LinkedIn and into our profile on LinkedIn, right? So offering that insight, free education, so to speak, because it really reinforces that you are that thought leader in your industry. You know, an example could be, if you are a designer, you could actively participate in design discussions. There's all these different groups on LinkedIn that you might at first think are your competitors, but really it's the group to try to foster more knowledge sharing. Right. So that designer could be in those discussions and groups, and then they're offering feedback and sharing, excuse me, expertise. But then guess what? That helps with collaboration. So two different designers could be working on a project together, right? So this is all about building those relationships, not trying to sell. So that we're a little over 30 minutes in, or about 30 minutes in now. Our learning objectives were to find out if the LinkedIn platform was good for you, what the rules are in engagement, how you can creatively promote your business and your brand. And I mean brand as your professional, like personal brand, whether to use hashtags or not, all the different ways to post, and then building the strong relationships. So at this point, we want to move really into being more of a deeper dive on LinkedIn, really have some action items for you to do after you leave this webinar. Or if you multitask like some of us, maybe you'll do them while we're doing the webinar. At the beginning of our meeting together, I did ask if you were safe enough, which means you're not driving, and capable to open up a link for LinkedIn. We want to go ahead and look at our profile. Right. So we're all here to build business, right? And increase revenue. And now I've just told you for the first 30 minutes that it's not about sales, right? It's about relationships. So, but ultimately, right, we are trying to find innovative ways to be a trusted partner to our potential clients. And LinkedIn is a way to really crush and stamp out that cold calling. And here's some really great statistics about why it's important to sell and build relationships in a digital platform. There's some great statistics here about that companies that invest in social selling or utilizing LinkedIn and other social programs, 45% more sales opportunities than brands that do not utilize social networking. If the business prioritizes social selling, there's a 51% more likelihood that they're going to reach their sales quota, right? So it's a way to really help. You're still going to meet people. You're still going to talk to them on the phone, right? But this is a way to kind of get that warm introduction before just knocking on doors. And in a recent Forbes article, 87% of business event professionals have canceled events because of the pandemic, excuse me, and postpone events, right? So this was a way, if you used to do LinkedIn before the pandemic and felt like, oh, it's not that engaging, people are only there looking for jobs. Since then, right, we're now post-COVID, so to speak, right? Since then, we're really finding that this is a great way to build the relationships. All right, so now that you believe that LinkedIn is gonna help you, because I believe it too, I'd like you to go ahead and get onto your LinkedIn profile, right? So go into LinkedIn, and then under the picture view, let's hope you have a picture view, you'll use the drop-down menu, and there's a place that says view profile. So what I'd like you all to do, if you can get on LinkedIn and click on to view your profile, so it would be how other people would see you. And I'll give everybody just I'll say like 45 seconds to see if you can do that before we move on. So if you noticed, we really want to ensure that before you start reaching out and posting things, that you look good on, I was going to say on paper, but obviously on computer in the digital world, right? So hopefully you're able to view your profile. And now if you can click back over to my side to where I'm at, I want to show you a profile that is not, we can't set it and forget it, right? If your profile looks like, or Erica Robertson's over here, no picture, really nothing going on while she's in California and she's in computer software. right? That's, can you imagine if you met somebody and you're trying to find out a little bit more information on them and you use LinkedIn and this is what you get? Granted, you don't get a negative, impression of them, but you get no impression of them, right? And we know that people are using LinkedIn as a way to just learn more about other people. So let's see what we can do and why doing our profile is so important. First, I think you all changed the picture on me. Anyways,
Sorry. Still have the
like
curlers.
That's what I look like every morning. Okay. So first, if you haven't started a LinkedIn account yet, that's fine. Get out your piece of paper. You got a little homework to do. I'm not checking it, right? So I'm not your teacher, but that's something that you can do. If you do have a LinkedIn profile and it looked a little bit more like Erica's from before, you still have some more homework to do, right? The thing is though, your profile should be who you are in a professional setting. There's not going to be a one size fits all answer to how to optimize your LinkedIn profile. And it really depends on what your specific goals and target audience are, right? If you're a recruiter trying to get job seekers, those goals are a little different than if you are someone who's trying to work with some apartment complexes and corporations to help beautify their outside area. Dave, I'm talking to you. But here's some key strategies that you can help, that will help you form those right connections and get you some opportunities in the future. The first thing we want to really do is make sure that the picture is a professional picture. It needs to be a high quality headshot that's clear and friendly, and it's appropriate for your industry. And what I mean appropriate for your industry as someone who's a banker, finance, something like that, that may be a little bit of a more conservative headshot than someone who may be an artist or someone who paints mosaic art for companies' walls, right? So, but it still needs to be professional. You do not want to do selfies for this, for your photo, for your profile. Group photos, don't take a photo of you and your spouse and now ex-spouse and just cut that person out, right? You want to make sure that it's a professional picture, because only 1/10 of a second for someone to make a decision about you. So once we have our nice photo, and you can do a nice professional photo on your phone and make sure you've got the background right. I mean, there's ways you can do it yourself. I'm not here trying to suggest that you need to contract with us to get a professional photo, but it needs to be a professional looking photo. Once you have that picture on there, you want to make sure you have a compelling headline. So just go beyond just your job title. Some folks have done some really creative things in this part of the headline that includes a value proposition, your expertise, career goals, and always make that in a concise and engaging way. Just a little, social bit about you that's professional, that grabs folks' attention. In addition to that, there's an informative summary. And then that's where you can craft a compelling summary that tells your professional story. So not a resume, but more like kind of those highlights and achievements that you're proud of, the skills that you have, the experiences, all that align with those professional goals. And then part of your profile, you can showcase your expertise. So you can highlight your achievements that have impacted on the roles that you've had. You can also give specific examples or data. Another part of your profile, and I don't know if I'm losing everybody at this point, is skills and endorsements. So once you have some followers, right, and you're building those relationships with those people, reach out to them and say, hey, will you endorse me? Take a couple of those LinkedIn learning courses and build up your skills. You can also, that's part of the optimization of your profile. And then you can always ask folks that you went to school with, that are your clients, that are your supervisors, people you work with, to give you recommendations, because that right there is social proof. That is like the Google reviews of us. And then there's ways that you can really get your profile in front of people that are searching for your type of person by using those relevant keywords throughout your profile. And then that helps the search of it. All right, let's get this lady out of here. So this is my profile. We could maybe take 1/10 of a second to see if I have been drinking the water, so to speak, drinking the Kool-Aid that I just talked about. So and there's always ways to increase our optimization, right? So the profile is not something that, again, that you just set it and forget it. We actually had a discussion internally about the background of my photo, if it should be professional or not. So as you can tell so far, I've won, but it might be changed soon. Let's see. So let's get back to those hashtags, right? So now if your profile has not, you don't have a great photo, you could improve on your skills. Maybe you could ask a few of the folks that are already within your community to give some social proofing by giving you some recommendations, right? So we're still not posting yet. Right now, we're all just making sure that when somebody sees our profile, that they see what we want them to see, okay? So once we've gotten that done, so let's say we're ready to go ahead and post. Look at this example if you're able to get back over, if you're over on your LinkedIn profile. This is an example of overusing hashtags on hashtag social media marketing, hashtag social selling, hashtag sales, hashtag marketing, hashtag, right? This is hashtag not too many. Plus, is it saying anything? Right? So that goes back to high quality, insightful posts. You might drive some traffic to your profile with all those hashtags, but I don't think you're going to get the traffic that you want to get, right? Because it's not showing anything meaningful. Now, if you're on your LinkedIn, why don't you get out of your actual view profile and just take a moment on your feed to see how the people you're following are using hashtags. Just kind of scroll for a moment if you have a moment. We might have 21 more moments. No. And just see, are people using hashtags appropriately? Remember, just like 3 to 5, if you're selling locally, that's great to have some kind of local hashtag. Do a general one that's important, but then also a niche that like makes sense. We can be a little overcritical too. Sometimes I use too few hashtags, I think, but they're a really great way, especially when they're researched and they provide some thought provocation, right? They're a really great way to increase your engagement.
Gina, we have a quick question that pertains to this is how can I find which hashtags I should use?
So that is like, Angela, you were looking in your crystal ball the other day when we were talking about this, because I feel like that's exactly something you said people were going to ask. Do you remember what you said in response to that when we talked about it?
Yep. So there is, I'm going to share a link. I'll share it in the chat in a couple minutes, which I think everybody should be able to see it. But there is a place where you can go and look for trending hashtags. There's a website, obviously, somebody's created something. So we can share a couple of those links. And then another thing that you could, I think Shannon just posted it for us, which is perfect. But another thing that you can do is I love to look and see what other people are doing. So if you're, like you said, a financial advisor and there's other financial advisors, in your market, in your area, go see what hashtags they're using, because sometimes, and it's not stealing, it's not, there's nothing wrong with it, but it's kind of good. Like, look at what they're using, click on them, see how many times they're being used, if they're effective. As far as local hashtags, really a good thing to do. I know, so I'm in Pennsylvania, so this isn't super helpful for you guys, but I'm in the 717 area code. So that's a huge hashtag around here is 717 local. And not every, but like so many of the local businesses use that hashtag. So, look at your area codes, look at, if you're in Hampton Roads. I think Hampton Roads local might be another big one. But that's it's kind of just really looking to see what other people are doing. Obviously you can make like a identifying hashtag like hashtag social sipper, which is great because that's identifying social sipper and it's also cataloging all of our posts. But that's not going to get you a lot of outside traffic necessarily. So really, look at the link we posted, see what's trending. But always remember too, with trending hashtags, you kind of have to stay on top of them because what's trending today might not be trending 3 months from now. So I always recommend once a quarter. Which I think, Gina, you might also like once a quarter kind of look over your hashtags and make sure they're working for you. And yeah,
that's great. And I love that you brought up the local and the area code, because 757, that's my local area code. And yes, you see that fairly often. So it's a great way to narrow into our region. All right, so I'm still on this screen with the hashtags. Great question, whoever asked that. Thank you so much. Appreciate that. And so here's Mindy went ahead and posted nothing relevant, right? We've got a little secret sauce for you, so to speak. Let's not post yet. Let's do a couple more things first. Let's build our credibility. Okay, and this was going back on their profile. This is where you have your skills and your endorsements, right? So this is going back to reaching out to folks you used to work with, folks you went to school with, anything like that, and really building up that part of your profile. While you've got your to-do list of asking for endorsements and recommendations, go ahead and say, make sure you connect with me, right? I asked for connections for most of you that I was not already connected to. And if you like this training, if you want to go ahead and recommend me, I wouldn't be opposed to that either, right? So that's just a little shameless plug for me. But also you want to reach out and ask others to endorse you. And then you as well can endorse folks that you're comfortable endorsing. So you're going to make your connections, right? We know you're going to make your connections from people you already know and people that know people that know people. But another great place where you can really make connections is going back to those groups. And I think one of the examples was like a designing group where you collaborate with other designers. This is a really great way for you to build your knowledge base, but also connect with like-minded folks within your industry. So we highly recommend not just joining the groups. So here's where LinkedIn is kind of exciting about it, right? LinkedIn doesn't want a whole bunch of users that just join and post, right? So not just join the group, but then get into the groups, read what other people are posting, respond to what's posting, and make an effort of really trying to build that relationship because you're adding insight to these membership groups. And then another place that you really want to help build your relationships are through company connections. Hey, I know that lady. So I think I know some people in the back there as well. If you dive into your laptop, you might see somebody you know. But this post is great because what happens is, one, it's live, it's professional, it's kind of behind the scenes a little bit, so that's great. But tagging the company, that's who Shannon's with right there. That gives more exposure to your post because now everybody from that company is also having access to that post. And then, of course, some great hashtags along with it. Just 3. Way to go, Shannon. Okay. Oh, Angela, your little thing didn't. Okay. So go ahead and make sure that Yes. Okay. So make sure that before you're starting to post, make sure that you are engaging in LinkedIn. This is really kind of the secret sauce to what LinkedIn is saying, which LinkedIn wants to make sure you are actively engaged by, adding to your profile, making comments on other people's items, sharing best practices and industry trends. Okay. And that way, if you start engaging first in LinkedIn before you post, there's a much higher probability that your post is going to be exposed to your network and beyond. And that was something a little newer I learned. Thank you, Angela. All right. So at this point, we would be ready to post, right? We've been engaging with other people's content. We've got a nice professional photo. We've got some endorsements. We've done a few extra skills out there. And on a side note, I do not believe that the skills have to be specific to LinkedIn. Like if you use Skillshop, I believe you're also able to add like those kind of certifications. But okay, so we've done all that hard work. We're ready to post. What are we going to post about? Right? That is probably, as a marketing professional and someone who's out there talking to business development folks and business leaders within their industry, they're always like, okay, I know I need to get on there. I need to do this. I need to do that. But I don't know what to say. Right? So one way to really build your brand on social media is to go ahead and post events that are happening. Even if it's an event like a networking event. I know some of you will go out and network, right? Maybe you're posting about a networking event you're going to. Maybe you want to invite other people. Kevin O'Leary's post here, he's added somebody with him. Okay, so he's included another person that's going to bring additional exposure, and he's also included a company. So let's see how many hashtags he has. He doesn't have any, or Kevin. But what it does is it adds more exposure to your post. Okay, and it shows that it's not just about you, because it's also about Connor and this other company, right? So then Connor is more likely to make a comment or to share it. The company may make a comment to share it, right? So that's one posting idea you could do, is do events or something that you're going to be doing soon. Another is to highlight your expertise. So this is a post that Shannon put together for our company. Which one is it? With the threads, excuse me. So when Instagram started the threads, so Shannon wanted to go out. She had put together a nice blog about it. And so she wanted to let everybody know, hey, this is another great opportunity. So this is a post that you're showing your expertise, right? If you have a blog already in place, articles are also a really great way to gain exposure. Articles in LinkedIn, it's just insightful information that you feel is relevant, and then you can just put it into the article, and LinkedIn really likes these articles. So if you have blogs, or if you've even, let's say, composed a really great email to somebody explaining something, like on a very basic level, or something where all the audience could understand, you could turn that into an article. And again, that's showing your expertise. So you could post about events you're doing. You can post about things that are happening in the industry, post about information that you want to share. And of course, we know engaging. I'm sorry. My apologies. You can also repost ideas. So this is me. So I put together a post, and then Social Sipper reposted it. So you could also repost ideas. So let's say you see something that one of your community members has posted, and it's an article, or it's something insightful that you want to share. That's another way to create a post, right? You can go in and repost. Even better if you put your own information or your own insight about why you're reposting this, kind of like a share idea. And that's another great way to create some content for you. And then the final, well, not final, but another one we're going to touch base on, if anybody wants to do a drum roll, because we all know it, it's the video, right? So video is very engaging. When you're posting video, one, we know, I feel like I've said it a trillion times, right? Relevant and professional. I mean, this is probably a company doing team building. But remember that people don't really listen to video. So if you're going to post a video, have your captions on, make sure that it's accessible with somebody watching it without the audio. But what types of videos could you do? Educational and instructional videos, right? Thought leadership, of course. If you sell products, you could do a demonstration of a product. Folks love to know what's going on behind the closed doors or your company culture. So that's like this video probably is a team activity. So it's a great way to humanize your brand. And, everybody's talking about how they can't hire anybody these days. It's also a great way to showcase that company culture for prospective employees. Let's see, product demonstration is great. Hey, if you've got a couple of customers that are big hams and they love to be on video, ask them if they'll do a video testimonial. I mean, you could even write kind of what you'd like them to say. And then that satisfied customer video is going to really help you build that trust and credibility with the audience. I think Angela has done this great little kind of panel discussion or interviews where she's shared tidbits of information and insights in social media, and then she's posted that as well. So that's another way. Again, we're not talking about a 5 to 10 minute speech, little tidbits.
We do have a question from David. He's wondering how long videos should be.
So David, it always goes back to what's the purpose of the video and who's your intended audience. But you really, because the way that we work, just our brains and human nature, I would say really keep it under 2 minutes, unless it's a really purposeful why you need longer than that. Angela and I have had a passionate discussion about how long video should be, and she's like under 59 seconds. Like, we are all squirrels, I guess, at this point. But it really is going to go back to what is the purpose behind that video. I mean, if you're trying to explain a complicated concern within your industry and you need 3 minutes to it, if it's valuable, I believe people are going to continue to watch it. If it's, a minute and a half of somebody walking to where they're going to go do the video, no, right? That doesn't make any sense. So it's always going to boil back down to what is the intention of that video and who do you think your audience is going to be?
I think, not to interrupt, Gina, but real quick, like you just said, we're like squirrels. Our attention span is like, I think it dropped down to like 16% during COVID, or 16 seconds. It used to be 20 and it went down like 20%. But a good thing, if your video is going to be longer, because I do say 59 seconds, I am passionate about that, but I say it with a grain of salt. So I always tell people, if your video is going to be longer than 59 seconds, in that first 20 seconds, you should have an amazing hook. Something that, like let them know, like, these are 3 things you need to do if, or, don't do this if. And if you give them the hook in the first 20 seconds, they'll stick around, if it intrigues them, they'll stick around to hear your answer. So just let them know what you're covering and then chat away for a little bit.
Absolutely. And, as you're saying that, all I could think of was those videos that I get sucked into that says watch till the end. Yeah. And then you're watching to the end and you're like, there's nothing going on.
You're like, why did I watch?
Yeah, that's perfect. That hook, right? Make it compelling so people know that there's a reason to finish watching that video. Gosh, you're so smart. You should work for Social Super. Now I want to go out on a boat. Okay. Whoops. Yeah. One more moment. Sorry, everybody. Technical difficulties. All right. So surprisingly enough, I've been talking for about 56 minutes now. And so this is kind of where we can stop, take a breath. Some of you may have a few to-dos, a little homework, so to speak.
And I think I have I think 2 more questions for you. Let me scroll through here just so
great.
you could.
And if you're thinking of a question now while Angela is looking at the questions, feel free to go ahead and pop that into the Q&A section.
I think this is a good one. How do I get more people to follow me or connect with me on LinkedIn?
Mm-hmm. Well, I think one of the things is make sure you're following and connecting with other people first, right? You're engaging with their information, you're commenting, not just a liking, right? You're commenting, you're in groups, you're making interesting and insightful comments within those groups, right? So you're building that. Then you can go out and ask folks like, hey, we're in this group together. Should we connect? Can we connect? Does it make sense to connect? So I think those are probably the first ways to do it. Is first, make sure you're engaging in the platform and making insightful and interesting comments. Then asking other people, you can reach out to other people and ask to connect with them. Looking, and then what else do you think, Angela? I'm sure I'm missing a few things.
No, those are great. Like I always say, you have to, if you want to be successful on social, you have to be social. So exactly what Gina said, like you got to put yourself out there if you want, people to come find you. Maybe the only other thing I would say is anywhere you can, like in your email signature, if you can like include your LinkedIn in there, that would be a good right. way where people see it, then they're going to click on it and connect with you. But otherwise, I think you got it covered.
Mm-hmm. And in that same theme, right, if you do have a website, make sure your LinkedIn is also along with your other social networks. And I do really feel like the articles, when I have put articles in LinkedIn, the traction is much more significant than when it's a post. So
and
that's
that very last question, somebody did ask, somebody did ask about LinkedIn articles, which I know you kind of covered it, but if you just start talking about it again, if you want to mention it again, is it important to share LinkedIn? I'm trying to find the exact wording of the question. Just can you talk about articles in LinkedIn? Are they important to share? And should I be sharing them?
Yeah. So one of the things about the article is that goes past the group of people that follow you. So when you put in an article, LinkedIn sends it out to their secret sauce of people, right? So your articles are being exposed to people that are not within your network right there. So that's why I highly recommend doing that. If you already have blogs done or emails or marketing material that has to do with an industry trend, as Angela mentioned before about utilizing that content in different ways, you can take that content that you have that may be a blog on your website and you can filter that into a LinkedIn article. Now, all that sounds kind of magical, but truly, if you go to your profile and you click, start an article, it's fairly intuitive where, it will ask you like for an image, right? Because we always love images. You may not know the size you need, right? So you can honestly Google that, right? What size for a LinkedIn article, the size of your image. And then it's going to ask you for a title. It's going to ask you for it's kind of that, was it kind of like a templated idea a little bit? And then it says like, this is where the body goes, the content of your article, and then you hit publish, and then LinkedIn magically sends it off to a ton of people. And then those people making comments on it, those are people that you can say, hey, let's connect.
For sure. Another way to add to your connections. And I think the only other thing that you didn't touch on, but is the search engine portion of LinkedIn. So the more articles you have, the more searchable your profile becomes, which will again lead to connecting with more people, engaging with more people, and getting your name and your company out there.
Angela, are you telling me that I need to post more articles?
I think I am telling you that. I think I'm telling everybody that we should all go out this afternoon and write an article.
Yeah, why
sure.
not?
Yeah.
Hey, we are like literally wrapping up. We're 2 minutes over. I apologize for that, but I do want to just do a quick plug for our next Lunch and Learn. This is third Thursday of every month. Next month, we're going to learn more about Instagram and how to use that in a professional way and set yourself apart from others within your industry. Of course, it is very different than, as you can see this photo, would not be acceptable for LinkedIn, but very different platform, very different intentions, but another great way to build your business and build your credibility. So if anybody has any questions, you can stay on for a few minutes. We'll keep this open. For everybody who's got a hard stop at 1 o'clock, thanks for sticking around for those 2 extra minutes. And please, if you thought this was valuable, leave me a recommendation on LinkedIn. What else could they do? Join next month's Lunch and Learn. Spread the knowledge to your friends and frenemies. And that's about it. So thank you, everybody. Thank you, Angela and Shannon.
Oh, sure. I think we have one more question. Owen is asking,
Hey,
can
Owen.
you explain why your connections fall into tiers? And I'm not 100% sure what that means.
Oh, that's going to be tough. We could probably unmute him.
Maybe that would be good. Yeah.
Hey, Owen, I don't want to unmute you without you knowing. But if you're still there, I'm going to unmute you, and then you can.
Oh, Shannon. Oh, I see what you're saying, Shannon. So I think he means like first, second, third, like how people that you see
okay.
on LinkedIn fall into different tiers. So, I mean, if you still want to unmute him, so basically if you're connected, so Gina and I are connected on LinkedIn, we actually click the connect button, we would be a first connection, like first tier. Now, if Gina and Owen, who obviously are business connections, they know each other, I'm going to assume they're connected on LinkedIn, but before today, I don't know Owen. So Owen would fall into the second connection for me, meaning like we probably don't know each other, but we share business connections. So for me, that might mean like, oh, Owen would be somebody good to connect with because I work with Gina. Gina works with Owen. So maybe eventually Owen and I would work together. Third tier, I think what third tier is where you do not share any mutual connections. So, not saying that they might not be somebody worth connecting with, but chances are they may be somebody that you don't typically do business with or may not fall, so for me, that might be somebody, out in California that is I don't know they're a doctor, and chances of me working with doctors are, pretty slim to none. So I probably wouldn't connect, with that third level. Not saying that it never happens, but second level, kind of first level means you're connected, your business connections, and second level means, you're kind of in the same orbit. If that answers your question, Owen. And if I was completely off track, let me know.
I think you're right on there. It's like, yeah, I'm friends with your friend's neighbor. Like that's kind of how it, like I did a little on the fly Googling, right? And it's like the third degree is like your second degree's connections. So then it would be like Angela and I are first connections. Angela and Owen would be second connection because they both are connected to me. But then if Owen had a connection that none of us were connected to, that would be Angela's third.
Yeah.
My second. Yeah. Who knew we were doing math today?
Yeah, it's like first cousin once removed. Yeah. So when you're really, if you're just like randomly looking around for people to connect with, if it's somebody you don't know, but they are a second connection, they might be a good prospect, long story
Mhm.
short. Let me see. Oh, I think, okay. That's exactly it. Owen said, okay, please send me a link so I could pass on my social media. David says, please send me a link so I could pass on my social media. I'm not sure what that means, David. Or do you mean a link to the,
Go ahead.
I was going to say, do you mean a link to the webinars, like to the lunch and learns? Oh, you want to connect? I'm
Oh,
sorry.
on LinkedIn. I see what you're saying.
Maybe.
Yeah, where am I? How do I do that? How do I do that?
Wait. Let me see. Oh, David said yes. Sorry. Okay,
So
so we'll connect with you on LinkedIn. We can connect after.
I have my, where do I put it? Oh gosh. Okay. So this is in the chat if people can see it. That's my
People
LinkedIn
can't.
profile.
I'm sorry, people can't see the chat. You can put it in Q&A though.
All right, I'll put it in Q&A.
But we're going to send out an email to everybody, and that'll have most of our information on there. And Gina, I'm sure you can connect with David after, like, yeah.
Oh yes. Yes.
Awesome. So I think we're down to 4 people. I think we've answered all of the questions. David says perfect. So yeah, I think we are good. I think we got them all squared away, but if I'll let you end it up, Gina.
Yeah, I think I think we're all good. I see that Todd looks like he's reconnecting, so I didn't know if he was going to hold back just another second or two, or 10 to see if like he was trying to ask a question, but then he clicked the wrong button.
Gotcha.
These gentlemen on Byrne, David, and Owen, great guys. Thank you guys. Not that, oh, Todd left. Okay. Thank you guys so much for coming and supporting Social Sipper Brands. Hopefully you learned a little bit about it. Next month, this Instagram, Angela is like a phenom on it. She's younger than I am, so she fits the demo much better than I do. But
if you doubt nobody clicked off Instagram on the poll, so, but I promise you, Instagram's a great place to be. So I hope you attend.
You have teenage or young adult children, and they don't return your text messages. Just post something dumb on their Instagram and they will call you immediately.
Yeah, it's a good point. It's a smoke signal.
I heard that. I heard that. I didn't know.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I'm going to close this up. We are recording. I forgot about that. So I am going to go ahead and close out this webinar. Thank you, David and Owen, for sticking around